You ever look at your life and think, man, there's no way God can use someone like me? We all messed up at some point. We've all made mistakes. We all have those thoughts that we don't want nobody to know about. And because of that, you probably feel like you disqualified yourself from having a purpose or being used by God in some kind of meaningful way. But I want to flip that whole mindset today, because what if I told you that it's those exact imperfections that makes you somebody that God actually wants to use? There's this idea that God only uses the super spiritual, or the ones that have it all together. But when we open the Bible, is that what we really see? Let's get it straight. God does not use perfect people, because there are no perfect people, except the Son, of course. Moses was a dude with anger and speech issues that literally tried to talk God out of choosing him. David, a warrior and worshiper, a man after God's own heart. And let's not forget Mr. Steal Your Girl and Kill You After. Peter, one of Jesus' own go-to guys that bailed on him when it mattered the most. And Paul, hunting down Christians, and then became one. And the list goes on. But these guys were not chosen because they were flawless. They were chosen because they were willing. God used their weaknesses to show his strength. So when we realize this, everything starts to change, because our flaws are no longer dead ends. They become opportunities, an opportunity to surrender to God, to allow him to move through you. Your past, not a disqualification. It's a platform for grace. Your weaknesses, this is where God steps in to show his power. Paul talks about this in 2 Corinthians, where he says, God's power is perfected in our weaknesses. This means our imperfection is the space where God does his best work. So don't let shame tell you that you're unusable. That's a lie from the enemy. God's whole entire pattern is using broken people to bring healing, using outcasts to change history. So right now I want to talk to you young men out there in your early teens or 20s or 30s. You're feeling like you're stuck in a cycle, maybe in the same sin, or still healing from past trauma, trying to figure out who you are or what you believe in. Listen, God's not intimidated by your mess. He's not sitting there in heaven waiting for you to be a better man or looking for the version of you that doesn't exist yet. He wants you right now as you are, not because you're qualified, but because he is. When you say, all right, God, use me, he will. You don't have to be a pastor or have a degree in theology or have 1 million followers. So what does all this mean practically? Like, what do we do with all of this? And it really boils down to 3 things. Stop waiting until you're ready. God can use you now in your workplace, with your friends, or on your social media. Honestly, I waited long enough to start this channel, and if I would have waited until I had it all figured out or all together, it would have never started. The second is, let your imperfections keep you humble. There's power in saying, I don't know it all. I really don't, but I know the one who does. And the last is, let God transform you through the process. God doesn't expect perfection before he calls you. He helps perfect you through the process. So here's the bottom line. If you feel too broken, too doubtful, too inconsistent, too dirty to be used by God, here's the truth. God's not done with you. Not even close. He sees what you can, and he calls you more than your mistakes, and he still chooses you. You don't need to be perfect to have purpose. You just have to say yes. Again, there's so many things that I really do wish I had all put together. But if I wait on those, I will miss out on God's will and the opportunity to be a blessing to others. So don't wait. Get moving on that project, that conversation with that person, spreading the gospel, whatever it is God's telling you to do. So if this hit home for you, I would love for you to drop a comment. Let us know a little bit about your story, your journey. Leave some encouragement for the others in the chat. If you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting the like button so that the YouTube algorithm can show this to someone else who needs it. Also, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the next one. Love you guys.